All right, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to a new video. So today I wanted to talk about Netflix and its rise in price. I texted like 5 different people, I'll put it right here, to look into Netflix. It had quite a drop in price and a 25% gain. If we look at it from a year perspective, I mean, it was 133, dropped down quite a lot in price, and just recently went up 25%. Now, this was not that difficult to basically spot from, I would say, a few different perspectives. Number one, most of us have a Netflix subscription. Most of us pay money to Netflix, so Netflix is profiting off of us, the consumers. That's number one. And number two is the stock really only went down because of bad news, right? They thought that Netflix was gonna acquire Warner Brothers. It was not gonna be a good deal. Essentially, that's what people thought. They're gonna be spending a bunch of cash, taking on a bunch of debt, which would not be good for the company. But if we just break it down to the base of what it is, we're still gonna be paying our Netflix subscription, to use it. Very, very simple business model. And the bad news was really not that bad in comparison to how the stock is performing. Every single year, they're making more and more money. Same with essentially every single quarter, they're making more and more money. So as the stock went down, obviously you can't bottom guess it when it's going to start going down, but even just dollar cost averaging a little bit at a time, whether that's 5% each time it has a drop, if you have 10K to utilize into this investment, would have been a good idea. Now, something I've been really just focusing on a lot of the investments I did, like Amazon, is a lot of the reasons why stocks simply go down, and not in like a disastrous way, not in like they're going bankrupt way, is very simple. If there is, I would say, a somewhat decent amount of bad news, it could lose confidence in investors, but generally the stock bounces back, especially with really big companies like this. An example with Hims, right? This is not, a Netflix by any means, or a Amazon, a $2 trillion company. This is only, now it's a $3 billion company. These go up and down, right? Do I still think this company is going to go up in price? Probably, right? The bad news for this company is all the lawsuits and them, being in that battle with Novo Nordisk. That's the bad news for this company. For Amazon, I guess you could say, is them having the huge spending on AI, right? A ton of spending, and stock went down, etc., etc. For this, it was them buying Warner Brothers. They didn't. They got $2.9 billion or something in cash for not doing the deal, and the stock went up. So I guess the premise of this video is buy on bad news and sell on good news. Now, you don't always know if or when that's going to happen, but generally human beings, they all operate pretty similarly, very emotionally, and I think people make worse decisions based off of fear. And so just keep that in mind. If there's bad news and the stock continues to plummet, you can just dollar cost average it down. And generally, I heard a quote recently where it's like, the world doesn't end that often. The world really doesn't end that often. And most companies generally don't have, I would say, catastrophic failures, especially really, really big ones. They can go down significantly, but you have to look at it like, if the most you can invest, let's say, is $1,000 into a company, the most you can lose is $1,000, right? If Netflix goes to zero, or if a company goes to zero, the most you can gain, you could technically say, is, I'm not going to say unlimited, but you can gain however much the stock goes up. So the most you can lose is 1,000, which is obviously not going to happen with a company like this. And the best case scenario is you make 30 to whatever plus % on your money if you buy it, dollar cost average it the right way. So that's that. Buy on bad news. Really, that's really it for today's video. If you enjoyed it, give it a big thumbs up. If you want to see any other videos, drop it down in the comments below. Let me know, and I'll see you guys for the next one.